Hey Sugar Snaps, welcome to day one of Building a Creativity Practice Challenge. We are doing 31 days to create a consistent and sustainable creativity practice where you can spend time doing something creative every day. We have a corresponding ebook that goes along with this series. You can find the link in the description below. We'll be referencing that. So in this video, I'm going to be working on one of my works in progress. So I invite you to grab one of yours to spend some time actually putting the creative practice into play and working on something that you already have started. Knock out some of those works in progress through this series. I'll be reading the first chapter in our ebook titled Your Daily Creative Practice. Chapter 1 is all about what a creativity practice is and kind of explaining the different aspects of that. I am going to be hanging out here in the studio, and my project today is this basket. I wove this basket. This is a rattan reed basket. I used 1/4 inch flat oval reed and number 3 round reed in an alternating pattern. And then the part that I'm working on right now is putting in this chevron pattern. So you can see I've put these chevrons here and I'm alternating it with this. This is actually a walnut dyed, naturally dyed reed that I did. And I'm alternating the dyed reed with the natural reed around the basket. I've partially completed this one, and then I have a whole nother side. Yeah, one more side and a half to finish. So I will be working on that today as we talk about what a creativity practice is. So grab something cozy to drink, pick up your whip, and let's dive into what is a creativity practice. Before we get started, if you want to leave a comment below sharing the work in progress that you're working on and the type of drink that you're drinking, I'd love to hear, and we can share our projects down there. First up, I want to read the chapter 1 for today. So I've pulled up Your Daily Creative Practice, which is our ebook that is going to go along with this series. And I'm going to pull up chapter 1 here. So what is a creativity practice? I'm going to read through this so that you don't have to and can be hands-free and working on your work in progress. So let's dive in. Chapter 1, what is a creativity practice? A creativity practice is a deliberate and consistent engagement in activities that nurture and enhance your creative abilities. It is a commitment to exploring your imagination, trying new ideas, and honing your skills. A creative practice is not confined to traditional artistic endeavors. It can encompass various activities that stimulate creative thinking and expression. For our purposes, however, we will focus on creative practice in the realm of making. The essence of a creativity practice. A creative practice is about making time and space in your life for creative exploration. It involves setting aside regular time to engage in activities that inspire and challenge you. This practice is not about producing perfect results, but the creation process itself. It is a journey of self-discovery, learning, and growth. Key components of a creativity practice. Consistency. A successful creativity practice requires regularity. Whether daily, weekly, or monthly, the key is to set a routine that fits your lifestyle and allows you to consistently do creative activities. Exploration. Creativity thrives on curiosity and exploration. A creative practice encourages you to try new things, experiment with different mediums, and push the boundaries of your comfort zone. This openness to exploration can lead to unexpected insights and innovations. Reflection. Taking time to reflect on your creative experiences is essential to the practice. Reflection helps you understand your creative process, identify areas of improvement, and recognize patterns in your work. It also allows you to celebrate your progress and achievements. Flexibility. A creative practice should be adaptable to your changing interests and circumstances. Allow yourself the freedom to change up your practice as you grow and discover new passions. This flexibility ensures that your practice remains engaging and fulfilling. Mindfulness. Engaging in creative activities with mindfulness enhances your ability to focus and be present. Mindfulness helps you connect more deeply with your creative work and can lead to a more enriching experience. A creativity practice is a personal and evolving journey that invites you to explore your creative potential. Incorporating regular creative activities into your life can cultivate a vivid imagination, enhance your skills, and increase your experience. Let your creativity practice be a source of inspiration, growth, and fulfillment. Question of the day. If you focused on one component of your creativity practice, consistency, exploration, reflection, flexibility, or mindfulness, which would have the greatest impact? That is chapter 1 from the ebook. And I have been thinking about this concept for several months as we put together the ebook for this challenge. And as I've been processing the idea, and it's been in my head for a while, I, in my personal life, started to fall into this space where I didn't have a creative practice or didn't have time to work on my own work or work on my own projects. I do a lot of teaching and a lot of creating like beginner level things so that I can help others start to develop their work. And in all of that, kind of lost sight of my own work. So I am really excited to join you all in this creativity practice building challenge because I also need to be developing my creative practice and get back on the bandwagon, join the team, and start working on my own work. Not just to finish works in progress that I already have started, although that is one of the main goals of this challenge, is to try to kind of accomplish some things that maybe have gotten lost along the way or thrown to the side in the hopes or a different interest. So I have definitely been experiencing some burnout, and I'm super excited to get back into a creative practice and joining you all to work on my own things as we go through this 31-day challenge. In experiencing some of my own burnout, I've been doing additional work to kind of develop my work time and my project time to have it be as productive as possible. And one of the things that I learned from other creatives as I've kind of been taking in information and seeing how other people or other creatives build their creative time and stay motivated, stay equipped so that they can spend the time creatively. A lot of folks suggested getting outside or taking walks. And I know for me that really is super helpful because being outside and being in nature is very inspiring. That's one of the main places that I get inspired. And so going for a walk and getting some fresh air, moving your body, all of those good things just kind of really reinforce building your creative mental space. And so I've slowly been incorporating a daily walk into my routine, trying to get out every day, and definitely have seen a huge change in my mental space. Having a little bit more space, a little bit more enthusiasm for what I'm doing. So I am going to continue walking, but time is limited. So I'm trying to do 15 minutes of creative work along with that walk to just continue to build my creativity. And my project here today is this guy. So I'm going to get started. If you're working on your whip, again, I'd love to hear about it. If you want to leave a note in the comments. Sorry for the noise. This reed is dry. I found that if I work on these chevrons with the reed dry as opposed to damp, they go a lot more smoothly. So I'm going to be putting these in. I'm tucking pieces into previous layers to get them to sit. What's a good way to hold this? I think if I hold this between my knees, that'll work. Okay. Okay, let's see if I can talk and work at the same time. This will be interesting. So what I was saying is incorporating a creativity practice in my own schedule has become more apparent that is something that I really need in my life. So I was super excited as we were developing this ebook to realize that as this is something that's personal for me, I get to do this along with you and kind of see the outcome of what this looks like a year, well, starting with 31 days. But I'd love to be consistent through this new year and new season and keep working at developing and building my creative work, whether that's actually building things as an artist and developing my skills as an artist, or simply working on projects that I want to try, like new knitting patterns or a new basket design or things like that. So depending on the specific aspect of creating, whether it's for a purpose or just for fun, definitely want to keep working at that and developing that this year. So what this looks like for me is in the next 31 days, I'm going to set aside 15 minutes, and that's not very much, but for now, I want to start with 15 minutes because that feels doable to fit into everything else, and spend 15 minutes either working on one of my works in progress or using that time to move something forward, whether that's a project that I'm developing or some inspiration that strikes, kind of pursuing that, and have that 15 minutes set aside so that I can keep moving forward. And the reason I think 15 minutes is enough to get started with is because it'll maintain some momentum on the things that I'm working on, where I'm not having to wait for, a few hours once a week. I have an everyday routine, and when I do get more time, I can dive back in and, kind of already be on a roll in what I'm working on. So I'm actually going to read a story I wrote in chapter 2. So spoiler alert, this is coming up for tomorrow's chapter, but I won't be reading chapter 2 to you, so I think it's okay. So in chapter 2, I wrote, in college, I had the hardest time with days off. Pursuing a degree in the apparel and design realm meant that I spent a lot of time doing creative work for school. And if I finished something early, was on break, or decided to take a weekend to rest, I would face a conundrum. Time. Time to do something I didn't usually have the time to do. Expectations. The desire to make valuable use of the time I had to do something I loved. The two together often led to a paralysis of choice. What could I fit into that time? I also realized I wouldn't get back to that project probably for weeks or months. Having dedicated time for creative practice has programmed me to use random gifts of time because I've established a habit within my usual packed days. Now, if I get a random day off or have extra downtime, I can settle into my creative work quickly because I have something to step right into, and I know I'll be able to come right back to it during my next creative time, be it 15 minutes or a whole day. 15 minutes a day is not much to get into the creative flow, but it means that when you have more time, you can jump right into something creative with less analysis paralysis, wasting that valuable time. So I definitely fall off the bandwagon consistently, and honestly, a creative 15 minutes is usually the first thing to go when my days are packed or the other responsibilities come up. But I find that when I do have those 15 minutes, my just joy in life um, and my creative time when I do have time is so much richer because I've developed a daily ritual of having time to be creative and to grow in my skills and grow in just being able to come up with new ideas and spend time doing something that really is life-giving and rejuvenating for me. So I just wanted to share some of where I am coming from because maybe you can relate. I'd love to know, where are you at? Are you in a place where you have kind of felt burnt out in your creative work or uninspired and need a little boost of inspiration or camaraderie to get you going again? Or are you riding the train and super pumped about what you're doing all the time and just feeling really strong in your creativity practice? I'd love to hear where you're at. If you want to leave a comment below, along with the project that you're working on and what you're sipping on today. Yeah, because I think it's encouraging to hear both that you're not alone if you're struggling in your creativity, and that you're not alone if you're feeling kind of good about where you're at right now or on a good trajectory. I like to do craft by myself quite often. I spend probably the best creative time in my studio alone, but I know that having conversations with other creatives and with my friends who have craft projects that they're working on or skills that they are developing, that's always very inspiring. And to know that you're not the only one pursuing something creative or trying to develop a skill can be really encouraging and help you to get through the humps or the days that are harder to be motivated. And also, if this feels overwhelming, like 15 minutes a day, there's no way I can fit that into my schedule, then that's totally reasonable. I get it. Maybe it's 5 minutes of thinking about something or some inspiration while you're getting ready in the morning, or while you're on your daily commute. Maybe you're problem solving a creative idea, and that can count as a creative practice where you're developing your mental creative space. Doesn't always have to be a physical creative space to matter or to count. Oops, lost my tool. It could be the mental creative space if that's the season that you're in and you don't have time to actually sit down and do a hands-on project. You can sit down and or drive along and do a mental project. Getting to the bottom of my row, and this ends up being so much tighter, and I haven't 100% figured out why. I think it's because I'm layering on previous rows, but it just starts to take a little bit more hand strength. I thought it would be fun to share a quote each of the days I do a video to kind of just encourage inspiration, and it can be hard to pull inspiration or motivation out of nowhere. So using the experiences and the advice from those who have gone before us in the creative journey and have made things or created in such a way that was consistent and that they had a creativity practice or presumably had a creativity practice. Today's quote is from painter and writer Faith Ringgold, and she wrote, "You can't sit around and wait for somebody to say who you are. You need to write it and paint it and do it." I love that because it's talking about taking responsibility for your creativity practice and putting effort into building yourself as a creative. So let's go out and whatever time amount you establish for your daily practice, maybe it's not every day. If that doesn't work for you, maybe it's just on the weekend or, evenings, whenever you can fit it in. For me, it's going to be 15 minutes a day for the next 31 days. And my intention is to continue that on. And then whenever I have additional time available, tucking that in as well, whether it's a random weekend day or a holiday or some other amount of time that I'm gifted. I can already have something developed and something to step into, and that will make being creative on those gifts of time even easier. Well, in my 15 minutes, I didn't accomplish a ton because this is taking a lot of finagling to get these in, but I did almost complete this row, and I call that a win because it's progress that I wouldn't have made before, and this is slow craft, and that's what it's about, sitting and settling into something that is a little bit slower, takes more time, and takes more reflection. So that's where what I have accomplished today. As you're developing your creative practice, you may want something to watch to keep you company. I suggest watching my antique chair makeover where I take a chair and reseat it with rattan reed. Until next time, happy making. See you on day 4.